Hi Stampers, this is Brenda Keenan with Keenan Kreations, and today we're going to make a quick and easy card using the Wishing You Well stamp set from Stampin' Up. We're going to be using the Wishing You Well stamp set from the 2018 Stampin' Up Holiday Catalog. To get started, we're going to use shimmery white cardstock, and this is 2 3/4 by 4 inches. We're going to use soft sea foam. We're going to use this stamp here, tap, tap, tap. It's going to be stamped fairly close to the top, so that will allow us room for the greeting. This is a pretty detailed stamp, so you do want to press firmly. I like to use my thumb and just press, press, press. Our next color is Balmy Blue. And I have trimmed these flowers pretty close, but there is still a lot of open space in between the flowers. So you don't want to mash it on the ink pad or it'll fill in with ink. And then if you mash it on your cardstock, you might get a little blob in between the flowers. So I just tap it across the ink pad. And then you can see the ink is only on the flowers. And I'm angling this so I can get the best coverage of the flowers. And for me, I think if I have the wider part going on the wider part of this spray, and then this little flower that's kind of by itself is going to be pointed towards the stem. So I'm kind of angling it. It's not going to be perfect, but I think that gives a nice arrangement for the flowers. This bow is also inked up in Balmy Blue, and again, just tap it across your ink pad and press. Now on most of my card samples I stamp the greeting in the soft sea foam, but on this one I think I'm going to stamp it in the Balmy Blue. So this is a pretty narrow greeting, and sometimes with the long skinny greetings it's hard to get it on the block straight, so I do like to check it on the grid paper. So I just tap it, and I'm going to line up the edge of the block to one of the lines on the grid paper here, just as long as it's parallel. And then that'll tell me that my greeting is on straight. So now when I'm stamping on the cardstock, I can line up the edge of this block so it's parallel to the cardstock, and my greeting should be straight. Now while we've got the stamps out, we're going to go ahead and stamp the inside and the envelope. Now the base of the card is my standard card size, 8.5 by 5.5, and scored down the middle at 4 1/4. We're going to use a strip of this designer series paper in Balmy Blue, and this is part of the Subtles 6x6 designer series paper. It's great because you have designs with a white background, and then you have designs where it's more light and dark of the same color. And you get all the colors that are in the Subtles. This is cut 5.5 by 1.5. That'll allow you 4 strips out of each of the 6x6 papers. I'm going to leave a tiny bit of the cardstock showing on the left side. Now, as sometimes happens, my cardstock is not cut exact, so you can see I have a little extra here at the bottom. So I'm going to go trim this and I'll be right back. I want to add this on top with dimensionals, so I'm going to use probably about 6. Now I sometimes have a hard time getting this centered. I think I've got it centered, and then I'll look at the card from a different angle and it looks just a little bit off. So I went ahead and cut myself a template. This is part of the grid paper. I cut it the same size as my cardstock. So this is 4 1/4 by 5.5. And I took the size cardstock that I wanted, set it on top. I kind of marked the corners here so I knew where to cut. So I cut with my scissors right here until I cut out the opening. And then I just added a little bit of Scotch tape here to connect that back. So now I have a template that will hopefully make it easier for me to place this down. So as long as I get one side, I think I'm going to be okay. Let's see how that turns out. I think that looks pretty good. So we're going to add the inside adhesive around the edges. And you can see that was a pretty quick and easy card to make. Now I did make a lot of these in different colors. So this one is using Calypso Coral. And this one is using Highland Heather. So I hope you enjoyed today's project. For more ideas, you can visit me at KeenanCreations.com. Thanks and have a great day.